Welcome to the real world. I can show you the world.
And then?
And you'll be in a world of legendary moments will be captured. So stand up, scream, and make sure the boys feel you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
What is going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and man, that opening kind of gets me pumped up, but it also it's a little bit sweeter when the Cowboys actually win. When they aren't, that it just doesn't mean the same. But one thing that is the same, of course, is my co-host, Game Time. Game Time, how's it going, man?
What's going on, Primetime? How are you, my man?
I'm doing well,
good.
man. Like I told you, I just got done putting up some Christmas lights in the house, in the outside.
In the house.
And so it was just like a quick. I have to try to get over here and get this going.
Hey,
and stuff,
Kiana.
So here we are. It looks like over
what I mean.
here, of course, Lord Nova was here early. JoJo's in the house. Crystal Caramel Core and Twiz, of course, with his Eagles and San Francisco 49ers meeting up tomorrow, which we will be talking about later in the broadcast. Kiana Gibson.
Kiana's in the house.
And
She was in my live today, loving my impersonation of Kyle Shanahan. Punk ass Shanahan. What an asshole. Sorry. Anyway.
No, man. It's definitely understandable. There's that hate, the love hate relationship. Definitely
Got my back. I love it.
I don't blame you at all. Hey, man, we're here to cover, of course, the Dallas Cowboys Thursday night football game. The first Thursday night football game that Amazon has actually had. By the end of it being a really good game, everybody that I talked to was like, man, that game. And some people are like, did you see that game on Thursday? I'm a Cowboys fan. Of course, I did not see it. What are you talking about?
My guy,
man?
Harry, the guy I grew up with, I played baseball with. He was like, his only comment on Facebook I saw was, fucking effing Seattle. He was, listen, Phil, the sentiment out there is, and this is no lie, I'm sorry, Eagle fans, you can admit it or you can not admit it. They wanted us to lose in the worst way, Phil, because the last thing they want is us to be one game back. They wanted us to lose to Seattle, to give them a little bit extra elbow room. No, we won. Me and Phil broke it down. We talked about it. We knew how tough that game was going to be, not just because of Seattle. Time and place and ebb and flow.
Who needs a win and who doesn't? It's all that.
Thanksgiving, and oh my God, you got the revenge game against Philly. It was all in the mix, and it was one of those games. And not to mention, you're playing one of the most talented teams in the NFL, people. Seattle is that talented. They're a little banged up, but they're talented as shit.
Well, they got two offensive linemen right before that game, so they were at as healthy as they had been all season. So they were definitely bringing it.
I mean, you can't find three better receivers than what they have. You really can't. Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, and DK Metcalf.
Oh, DJ Metcalf.
Oh, by the way, Will Dissly, a tight end. I mean, Zach Charbonnet. Thank God they didn't have Kenneth Walker, because he's a beast.
Yeah, he is.
He is. So it's like, good luck, man. That's a tough out. Very, very tough out. As ugly as it was with the penalties on both sides, without a couple of those big chunk penalties, we probably might not have won the game. And that's just my
And that's where you go with the team effort, man. When I think of the overall, obviously, if you watch this broadcast, you saw that we were frustrated, like hell with the defense. We understood what was going on. They were tied. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know
What up, virus?
if it was in our
Cowboy Mafia.
at that moment we were thinking, of course, about the 12 days, 3 games. Your body's really, really tired. You're hitting each other. So of course, and then of course they were playing at a high level, a very, very high level. So the fact that when you needed the stop, the defense came through, and they came through repeatedly. It wasn't just a fluke drive. That's when the Bland interception happened. Those drives afterwards were kind of iffy. Okay, they scored, but then after that there was a clamp. So there was definitely, and it wasn't just a clamp like they drove all the way down the field and got to the 20 and then they turned it over. No, they weren't getting past the 50-yard line. So that's what I liked about the defense was not only did they come back from playing a very poorly first part of the game to the third quarter. They were able to actually come through when they really, really, really needed it, and that's what I like to see, man. Even when you're playing terrible,
What's up, Bobby?
And that's kind of the same thing we were talking about with Dak. If you're playing bad, which that was a take somewhere, can he come back? And man, he was on fire, wasn't he?
He was, and that last play, I really thought was dumb. If you saw the Seattle post game, they were like, "Oh, we drew that up."
Oh yeah, Well, I saw the college. There was a guy that pointing it out through college, and what happens, of course, we understand that the running back takes Parson with him, and that's why he thinks, the Parson's just going to break away and go with the running back.
They want to chip Parsons just to give him that extra split second, basically. The running back was not even freaking close to Parsons.
He didn't have the speed for that play. That was the problem.
Here's the deal. Parsons is faster than your running back.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that when they drew up this, because if I got news for you, if they were to chip Parsons and just slow him up, it was a deadly play because they throw the ball right over Micah's head to a wide open guy and he runs for God knows how long. That was a designed play, but you have to know who you're talking about. What up, Chuck? Not yet, Chuck. Nobody has signed Leonard. At least it's not public. But
no, I'm going to imagine he's going to be waiting until after the Eagles-49ers game kind of thing to kind of just
they don't want to upset the Eagles that bad that he's coming to Big D. But no, I really don't know what's going on. I know Zach Ertz cleared waivers, so I expect Zach Ertz to be with the Eagles. I don't expect both of them to be with the Eagles. If anybody wanted Zach Ertz, you would have thought that Baltimore would have claimed him.
That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense.
Because Mark Andrews, Phil's fantasy tight end, is out. I don't know for the year, but he's out indefinitely.
Yeah, well, that's what they said the rest of the year. So.
Is it a regular season or total?
Regular season.
Okay.
From what they said, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They just said season, so I didn't really look.
Yeah. So we'll see. One of those deals. We shall see. Chuck, you see my PFP Ben. I don't know. I can't read that. Sorry, bro. But
But when we talk about the game, I let's start breaking this thing down, man. When we got to start at the number one position, and that's who I have the overlay on right now, and that's of course Dak Prescott. Drive after drive, just driving the ball, just no interceptions, just in this game. I'm not going to try to jinx him or any of that. Just he had command of that offense. He wasn't afraid to, we wanted him run a little bit more. Brian made up a great point before when we were on the broadcast that, we questioned that third down, throw it to the end zone to CeeDee Lamb when you could have, had a draw. And if the draw is not there, then of course Dak take a knee so we can run the time down, kick the field goal, which is what they did anyways. They kicked the field goal anyways. But, you kind of, again, if I have to point at anything with Mike McCarthy, it's that time. It's the clock management, man. We see it. It pops its ugly head here and there. What's up?
That was horrendous.
Yeah.
That last play, the last series.
The last series,
yeah.
Well,
listen,
they got
man,
the
you
ball
gotta
back.
run the football.
Mm-hmm.
You got to run the football. That was stupid. And if you're gonna drop back and pass, you better be throwing it to a wide open guy. If not, Dak can kneel down, take the sack, whatever. But at least you drain 30, 40 seconds off the clock. That was horrible.
Yeah,
I'm getting to that, Cowboy Mafia. We're getting to that.
Yeah, and I totally understand the Yeah, the throwing, but again, yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather like keep running some time off of there. I wasn't, Ultra Cowboy points out, they were trying to go for that killer instinct to kind of put them away. Maybe that was it, but it's at the same time, they could have done a little bit of both. That's the way I feel about it. It's like nothing saying that you had to stop, but I don't know, just the right play. And some of those times they were. I mean, I saw, for example, like on the drive before, I think when they were going to go score, that sweep to CD Lamb, when CD Lamb came motioning across all game, of course, CD was motioning back and forth and not a single thing. And then they hand the ball off. If you watch that play, number 55 on the other side has no idea what is going on. He is looking in the backfield. He's like trying to figure out who has the ball. Then he looks back and but the whole time he has no idea what's going on. And so that was just an amazing call. So a lot of other calls that were really good, but I don't know if they kept the game in his hand.
Yeah, I agree. I just didn't like the call. As it turned out, it didn't matter. They played stupidly and left zero cover. We went on zero. We came all out after them, and they decided not to block Micah Parsons. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So as we move to the next section, how did you think the running backs did for this game?
I thought Pollard did wonderfully. That was I didn't see much of Rico. He had a couple plays. I did see Lepke get killed. If you saw early, I remember telling Phil early in the game, "Oh, we got a Lepke sighting." Lepke tried to block after I rewatched the game. Lepke needs to get stronger in the weight room. He got bowled over, and they didn't really play him a lot again after that. Pass pro, he stopped the guy. That's because the guy ran over him and basically fell. For a big guy, he's kind of not the strongest guy. So that's probably why he's not playing a lot. We got to see it. But I thought that Tony Pollard ran great, and that one where he had the touchdown, he had some tough yards that he got. I didn't understand why on that last series we didn't give Tony the ball and on that third down and just see what could happen. I mean, that was my only issue.
By that point, they were running pretty good.
Eagles, that might come back to haunt us. So a minute 40 left, no timeouts. That's a lifetime. But you get inside a minute, no timeouts. And now it's a little different. So when you need more than just a field goal. So I question the coaching there, but I think I did see Broadus. I always say on this show that, I really appreciate Brian Broadus and what he's done for the game, and he's done it, and now he's in a radio personality, and he even said that he basically said that was a no-no and that you should have handed the ball off. It was just not a good play, not at all. 10 out of 10, you hand it off. You do not throw the ball incomplete. So
yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. When I was talking about when I go with the running backs, I think Tony, by the end of it, they started using him a little bit better. Again, the pass starts opening up the run. They start getting a little bit more, before they really even get touched. They got really good vision. I think both of them do. Rico was running pretty hard, and there was a lot of jawing back and forth between these two teams. I mean, you could see Seattle definitely every single time flexing, talking. Ferguson wasn't backing down, and I think that's the next section. How did you think the tight ends did in this game? We got to go offensively most of this thing, but how did you think the tight ends?
Hold up. Ultra. Brian hates McCarthy. He said that McCarthy would give up play calling by the bye week. It was either that, Ultra, or do what he did, which was listen to his quarterback and his number one wide receiver who went into a room and said, this shit ain't working. We need to change up the offense. I got news for you, Ultra. They're no longer running the Texas Coast, West Coast offense. They're back to running the Dak offense. Mm-hmm. It doesn't resemble the West Coast offense at all, other than getting rid of the ball, if you can, in 2.3 seconds or under. So it was either that or give the ball, the play calling to Brian Schottenheimer, and McCarthy had little to no choice to make the change. You hate Mike, but praise DQ. Now I'm the one that is
No,
wrong.
we were not praising DQ earlier.
Yeah, I was lighting DQ up too. So you got to show up every time to hear what we're saying. But regardless, thanks for you. Thanks for your comment. I just got to keep people on the up and up. What up, JoJo? How are you? But yeah, hold up. East Side, both those offenses suck. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's probably talking about something else.
What are you talking about?
When I look at this game, man, one of the big players that I think of is Ferguson, man. Ferguson had that swagger. He's always had that little demeanor to him. Wasn't afraid to get into their faces,
Ferguson.
let them know that it's a first down, and jawing with Bobby Wagner. But I liked even Bobby Wagner doing it because he was more into the game as well. But there were some times which I was more annoyed with, like Jamal Adams and stuff, with their jawing back and forth, because he was like ridiculous. Slapping and stuff like that, and there's no flag. It's like, oh, okay, So
well, Jake Ferguson. Getting back to Jake, you did bring him up. Sorry, I lose train of thought when I got to deal with people in the chat. Jake Ferguson, at his last touchdown. He made Jamal Adams look like a little boy trying to cover him. That was hysterical.
Oh,
but
man,
Jake Ferguson, going back to that's when I first met Primetime, was on Mark's Live. Mark was having a draft show. It was me, Phil, and it was everybody. But I could tell right away that it was basically me and Phil spitting out like all the information, and we both kind of settled in on Jake Ferguson. And when he was drafted, I believe we both said, we really could use a tight end. And I said, I like Jake Ferguson. He goes, he's pretty decent. That would be a good pick. And lo and behold, they took it. Phil did a video on it, and I think, I don't know if I did anything on it, but anyway, you can go back.
It was like a clip. I asked you, hey, can you make me a clip and stuff? And that's how it kind of started.
I think you can go back and check out Phil's Jake Ferguson draft tape. Yeah, it was good. And I'm glad because he's maturing into a number one beast type wide receiver. I know Mr. Ultra, who wants to call me out, he thinks he's too slow. So who's the guy that don't know much? That would be Ultra, because Jake Ferguson is taking names right now. He's Mr. Schoonmaker, who can't seem to do anything right now. So I'll go with
each one had it. I mean, Jake Ferguson, it was definitely leading him. Schoonmaker had a play or so. McKeon had some blocking downfield. When you saw that one where Tony Pollard doesn't quite make the block on Jamal Adams, and then Dak kind of flicks it off to him, and then all of a sudden Tony kind of avoids 4 Seattle Seahawks guys, and McKeon comes in there and just makes a nice solid block for him to kind of go around and pick up another 9 yards. So it's like, it definitely, I was liking their play. I'm liking the 12 personnel when they're out there. It's just a distraction for them when these guys, these wide receivers that they need a rest. Brandon Cooks being a guy that becoming a really good possession guy. Like when they pull some coverage over to CeeDee Lamb or whatever, he's definitely doing a great job of blending in with the offense. I really like how they're complementing into the offense, and you see a little bit of dabble of Jalen Tolbert and of course Gallup had some sightings, but it's just some iffy stuff with that. But when I talk about the wide receiver, because I'm going to ask your opinion on it, that first drive, I pointed out on Twitter. I said that if you look at it, Dak Prescott on that drive where he gets first and goal with Turpin, you can see that is actually a pass to Gallup. You can see that the corner falls down and he tries to catch up, and Gallup comes back, and he's just trailing, and so Dak throws that to him, and Turpin's amazing jump radius just snatches it out of the air.
I'll have to check out your tweet. I haven't had much time today, so I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, Yeah, he just snatches it out of the air, and then it's first and goal. And of course, they don't punch it in and get a field goal. But man, it's just funny because there's a lot of things that are happening during the game that you don't quite see. Some of these matchups, some of these just people helping each other, some people getting in each other's way. I think that's something that we definitely have to talk about because the defense, man, it just seems like there was a lot of getting in each other's way. The one, for example,
running into each other. It wasn't a very good night.
Yeah. So it's just there was definitely. But before we switch totally to the defense, how did you think the offensive line played? Because that's a big one to me.
Yeah, I thought Zach Martin struggled at times. I thought that Terrence Steele struggled at times. It was fun, and even Tyler Smith had the one penalty. But for the most part, it wasn't horrendous. We went 3 games without giving up a sack, and that's the key to the whole team is your offensive line. Dak is actually able to step up. Seattle is a team to be reckoned with, and the Eagles will soon find that out in a couple weeks. But I thought that under the circumstances, it did well. It hadn't been as good as it did previously, but it also played a better team. Unfortunately, that's how it works. You get better teams, better scheme, better
and
coaching.
You're tired after all those, the 2 other games within the time frame.
Yeah, well, 3 games in 11 days. That's what they went through. I challenge any team to have to deal with that. So that's why me and Phil talked about how hard of a game that was going to be because three games in 11 days. You're looking ahead to Philly, just getting off an emotional win at home, Thanksgiving. It's tough on a player's body, so I'm glad we got to 10 days before we put a whooping on those birds. But, all in all, we got the dub and everybody came out healthy, which in my opinion is the most important thing out of everything. Mm-hmm. So
that's correct. That is correct. Now we can, as Cowboy fans, of course, go into this weekend kind of just really enjoying football. But before we go and talk about those weekend games, we got to talk about this defense. I mean, the defense to me, like as we got to go deeper dive, you're right on the money where there was some tiredness, there was a bumping into each other. I think some of the scheme stuff, of course, we were complaining about some of the things that they weren't adjusting to because, of course, they are a second half team that likes to adjust then. Just some of the question marks there. I thought, we had kind of mentioned before the game that how Stephon Gilmore shouldn't be on Lockett. So what does Stephon Gilmore have to be on? DJ Metcalf, right? And then Lockett would be on Bland. And so to me that seemed like the better matchup.
Yeah, it was.
And of course the first couple of plays they hit one to DJ Metcalf and he tries to undercut it. Bland tries to undercut it, but of course Donovan Wilson. I don't know because obviously I don't know the play, but he's coming down into the box, so I don't know if he's there to support the run. But if he was trying to some kind of pass, there was nothing coming into that zone. So the fact that Wilson dropped so far and kind of left Bland on an island, and he thinking that he has the top help. He undercuts it. I don't think he plays it the same if he knows that there's nobody back there. So, what do you think about that play? But how do you think how do you think the game plan really affected that? How the defense was going in the beginning.
Yeah. The game plan I thought wasn't the best of game plans. We talked about it during the game. Listen, I get it. If you want to try and jam receivers, you're really risking big plays down in and down out. I get it, but we literally were playing off, and everybody in the world knew that Geno was unloading the ball quick. So I guess Dan Quinn's philosophy was let him catch it and make the tackle, but we weren't doing that either. We were missing those initial tackles. Yeah. And so I don't have a problem doing that, Dan, if you're going to make the tackle. But I saw too many broken tackles, and setting up. It seemed like Seattle was 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3 every play.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to play.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to play football. So I was just telling Phil, I get it, people. I get that it's a risk. But if you know that Seattle's going to be unloading the ball quick, you set up a defense. Maybe you have your safeties deep so they could see the play develop in front of them and jam the guys and have your D backs up near the line of scrimmage, and then at least you have some help behind you. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you look at what Bland was doing in the beginning, when they talk about him in the first half, those are some deep routes that they were coming back on and he was having to defend. That means what? That the defensive front was not getting pressure. And when you look at that, yes, Geno Smith was getting the ball off very quickly. But when you look at Parsons' times and how much pressure he was getting there under 3 seconds. So it wasn't like they weren't totally getting pressure. It's just the offensive line did a great job, and really they had a great game plan going in to really attack this defense. A defense that was already tired, of course, when we talk about the games that they've had to play. But it was just a really good job by Pete Carroll and his coaching staff to really kind of get this team prepared to face the Cowboys. I mean, they were ready. The way that they were jawing in the beginning, there was something personal there. They had already talked about stuff in the locker room. They did the Jordan thing where they made up shit in their head in order to get the rivalry going. So I mean, you could definitely tell they were fired up coming out of that locker room.
Yeah, I had woken up real early. I went to bed early last night, and I woke up and let the dogs out, and I was up for about an hour and a half. I ended up rewatching the game. I kind of fast forwarded the commercials and fast forwarded through most of Seattle's. But yeah, I definitely saw exactly what you're saying. Listen, it is what it is. To Chuck, he says Primetime Phil, 3 days and 12 days. Defense was tired. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot to that. The people on the outside was, you're just making excuses. I think that's why you saw so many penalties. I didn't like the penalties. I thought it was an ugly game to watch. It was exciting just because it was close. Too close for my liking. I didn't think we would be down 8 points with 7 minutes to play. That's for sure. So, because that's what it was. So it was a real sketch, but at the end of the day, man, we got out healthy. We got the W. Ugly as it was, there was some great moments, and I want to touch on them. I know we're talking defense, but Dak Prescott, man, I went back and saw the Pollard drop in the end zone. That play, that pass was unbelievable, and that goes hand in hand.
The Lamb pass.
Yeah, that goes hand in hand with the because it hit. It Pollard in the friggin' helmet in the end zone between 3 defenders. It was a dime, unbelievable pass. Probably wouldn't draw it up, and you probably wouldn't advise a quarterback to make that throw. And he made it, and he made it perfect, and he dropped it. The Lamb drop on 4th down, perfect throw, hit him in the hands. The other one was Michael Gallup. Hit it. Those 3.
When I look at the one that was in the end zone,
a long time.
There was the one that was in the end zone that CeeDee Lamb was running into the end zone, and it went right through 3 defenders, and 2 of them were very close, and it hit his hands. And when you see it did not touch anywhere near the other guys. So it was like,
it was impressive.
Very, very impressive.
I just want to know where Dak Delusional is. He's normally in the chat. We need you tonight, my man, because Dak Delusional, Mr. Non-Dak guy. What are you going to say now? What say you? That was a performance and a half. Mm-hmm. The only thing I told Phil is that I thought maybe, I know we're getting closer to the playoffs, and I know how Dak rolls. He wants to limit the injury. You don't want to get injured in the regular season. In the playoffs, he lets it all loose. I get it, but we're in playoff mode from here on out. Starting with Seattle, to the rest of the season. We're in playoff mode, meaning we need to win them all. If we win them all, I think we're going to end up with the 1 seed. Anything short of winning the next 6 games, you're probably going to be in the 5th seed. That's just a fact. So we need Dak to, when he's in the shotgun, and we need to have him be aggressive and run the ball. Read option, keep it, Dak. They're not covering you. Most of the time, they're all collapsing on the running back, because they think that you're a beat-up guy who doesn't want to take the hits. Well, we're getting down. This is playoff time. Take the run, and you got to do it. And he's been doing it more and more and more, and I like that. So,
and so we could dive more deeply into the defense, but I got to give him the benefit of a doubt when I look at their body of work, because of course we said it earlier, but we'll say it again. The way that they were playing to adjust and not only stop Seattle, but to do it 4 times by a certain point that. This team really needed them to do it. I mean, in order to take that win, they needed every single one of those drives for them to stop, and that's what it came down to. And I just an amazing job to be resilient and actually just hang in there, not get down on about hey, we were supposed to be dominating or whatever a case may be that's in their head. They kind of just stay focused, and I got to give them that credit, man. Just an amazing job. So as we're talking about amazing job, let's go to the special teams. Of course, you didn't see much on Turpin with special teams and stuff. One thing I like is that he wasn't fumbling. There's no fumbles. There wasn't anything. Why is that? Because he wasn't no punts. There was no punts in this game. That is a crazy, crazy thing. 4th downs, all that kind of stuff. But the 5th time in NFL history that the game goes with no punts, of course, through the game. So we didn't get to see any of the punters, but we did get to see our field goal kicker. He was barely making some of them, but still 4 for 4. I have got to give him some credit because, man, coming in here and playing this game,
he hasn't missed.
Yeah, he's been doing an amazing job. So kudos to him, man. Kudos to him.
He has not missed. Ultra Cowboy. Yet Smith has been sacked in part due to 2.42 average time to throw, his quickest mark in the games, and Ultra. So what do you think of Dak, buddy? I know you were hard on Dak as of late. Are you on the Dak train, or you still think we should go with somebody else? Just curious, asking for a friend. Bobby Murphy, I might have to mute my TV next Sunday. I don't want to hear, here we go, for the 3 hours. Here we go. I know, that was funny. I know. It's funny now. It doesn't matter. As soon as Dak does something, it just goes viral, man. I still can't believe all these assholes on the mainstream media are shitting on him. I just don't know how you can get away with that, man. It just makes no sense to me, Phil.
Anything that would trigger. That's what they're trying to do, trigger.
See, there he goes, Ultra. Winning the playoffs. Dak has played tomato cans. Ooh. Well, we're getting into the dog days here. We got a grind coming up. So here we go, Chuck. Don't worry. We got the Mystic on the job. So
right now, right there, we would hit our 30-minute mark, and we'd kind of be going and stuff. But Brian, I'm going to let you take control. You wanted to talk about a couple of subjects, so we're going to go ahead and hit the segment of.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
There you go.
Well, listen. We got a lot of Eagles fans in here. The elephant in the room, if anybody saw my video today, I did bring up the Eagles and the Niners and my disdain for the 49ers. Mm-hmm. I hate the 49ers.
You see what they're doing to the statue over there? They're doing the Rocky statue. They're doing that whole, putting their 49ers gear on it. And
Hey, Twiz, do you believe this shit? Listen, and like I told everybody today, I basically said, if we didn't have any skin in the game, I would be rooting for the Eagles to beat the Niners.
Yep.
I can't. That's how much I can't stand the Niners.
Fans.
You got Deebo Samuel running his friggin' mouth. Like, shut up, bro. You're a running back and a receiver. Come on, bro. So it's like, Debo running his mouth, and then you have the coach, Kyle Shanahan, with his flat hat. He thinks he's all that, he thinks he's the man. Kyle, you can't win shit, okay? You can't win anything, okay? You win a lot of playoff games, and that's about it. You lose in a big game. Whatever, Ultra. Kyle, you choke in the big games, all right? So if I didn't need the Eagles to lose for my own benefit, I'd be rooting for the Niners. Mm-hmm. You got George Kittle you're wearing an F Dallas shirt under his pads. Like, all right, bro. I mean, like, nobody cares. Just shut up. I mean, I don't want to root for them. So, but I have to tomorrow, unfortunately. Chuck, Brian, Eagles, and 49ers are one and the same.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Yeah, but they're not in our division, Chuck. We need to have the Eagles win, so when we beat the Eagles next Sunday night, now we're even in the schedule. I get it. They have the tiebreaker. Still a month to go in the season. So that's the deal. So ultra second best or the best, yeah. But yeah, so I'll be rooting for the Eagles, the Niners tomorrow. But it's gonna be tough. But it's a tough matchup because I'm looking at the line, Phil. The line has went up. It was 2.5. Now it's a solid 3. So the bettors are telling you the Niners are going to win and win easily. They're So I'll be streaming the game. But I mean, we touched on it a little bit the other night. Has your thought changed? What's your thought on that game tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm with you. If it wasn't for the fact that the Eagles need to lose in order for that game of ours to mean something or to even have a chance. So, I mean, they don't lose to the 49ers. Man, that's a tough team. And if you can pull that off, that is an amazing victory. The 49ers are beatable. So you saw the 3 games in a row where they just got defeated by a power back, just a zone defense. They were doing some stuff against them. Of course, they were missing some people, so you don't have that luxury. Again, the time that you beat them in the playoffs, it was just different in the quarterback situation. So, I mean, I would like for the 49er fans to come back down to reality. But, of course, with the way that everything has to fall out, of course, you're right there, man. We want 49ers to win, but, God, it's a terrible feeling in the pit of your stomach to want that,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, I think even after the victory, whoever loses, I'd be happy with,
Yeah. You got I just think that the Niners will win tomorrow, and I think the Niners are playing the best football in the league. But I think everybody's overlooking the fact that the Niners are getting really beat up on defense, and I think that could be an issue for them, especially tomorrow. I hope not. I hope the Niners win tomorrow. It'll help as me and Phil are YouTubers, content creators. We want this thing to be close. Like I was getting to you as far as all the Eagle fans wanted Dallas to lose to Seattle to make it that much easier on you guys. No. You guys are going to have to play this out for a few more games. You're going to actually have to play. You're not going to be able to rest people. I'm hearing now that your tight end is doubtful. You better hope that Lane Johnson can stay healthy. He's supposedly going to come back. What up, Gina?
Wow.
Welcome. You better hope that Lane Johnson stays healthy and doesn't aggravate that injury going into the Dallas game. If I was you, I would sit Lane Johnson this week. Beating Dallas is more important than beating the Niners, but you won't. I'm sure you won't. So I think that would be a mistake. But yeah, Eagles are a full 3-point underdog as of now, and I kind of think that the Niners are going to roll tomorrow. The more and more I see, I think it'll be close for a little bit.
Right now they are healthy, but I mean, yeah, you can push it on their defense right now because they do. Like Brian was saying, they have a lot of injuries in that secondary, safeties that are out. So yeah, I mean, you can attack them. It's just you need to be able to attack them correctly. It's just going to be hard to run on them, but if any team can run on them, that line can definitely open up some holes. So I just want there to be a really good game, just like that Thursday night game where there was just good football. As much as, of course you can look back on it and go, man, that was a really good game. Of course, when you're watching it, it is not like that at all. I want a good football game. I just want two teams to really smack each other in the mouth. I want there just to be that playoff type of atmosphere, and I think that's what you're kind of going to get in this game. I think you might get that, of course, from the crowd as well. So it's just going to be a really interesting game. That's why, again, I say this shouldn't be a 4:30 game. This should be a night game, a Monday night game, Sunday night game, something, man. It's just being wasted there at 4:30. So
I like it though because just of my lifestyle. I hate to have to deal with the night game if I can avoid it. So it's perfect for me. Personally, I don't know if you're gonna join, but I will be streaming tomorrow at 4:15 for the Eagle game, and I'm looking forward to it. I think tomorrow the weather's supposed to be decent here, actually on the warmer side. Nope, no precipitation. I just love that we're getting down to the last half a dozen games and we're in the mix. Right now, we have the second best record in the league. That's a fact behind the Eagles, and we start talking about MVP and, we have all these people who said Dak's the MVP. And listen, the bottom line is we are now started the gauntlet. The gauntlet started with Seattle. It goes to Philly. Then it goes on the road. It goes at Buffalo, at Miami, home against Detroit, at Washington. If Dak wins the next 6 games, we will end up with the number 1 seed, and he will win the MVP. It's there for you, Dak. I'm not throwing it all on Dak's shoulders. Obviously, if we score 40 and give up 43, then we can't blame Dak for that. But I don't see that happening. I do think that I forget who said it in the chat that Dallas's defense was tired. 3 games in 11 or 12 days is a lot. We're getting ready to do our 4 games in 18 days with the Eagles. These guys are on a much deserved break. They needed it, and I'm just excited for it, man. I just think we're ready to do special things. I've maintained since before the season, we're right on track where I had our schedule. Our record, I didn't think the Eagles would have 1 loss at this point. Shout out to them, regardless of how they're winning. They're doing it with mirrors. They're struggling against bad teams. It's fine. You're still winning, and I give you credit for that. But that all comes to an end starting tomorrow. So you can bet your ass, Twiz. Your ass is going down.
So, Brian, you're going to be, of course, broadcasting the game. Are you going to be going on at 1 o'clock doing those early ones, or are you just going to go for it?
No,
you're going to do
I'm
the
not going
later
until
one?
4:15.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Anything you want to say before we get out of here and done talking about this game and put this game behind us? Even though it was a very good, we talked about this early in the year. I mean, I wouldn't even say earlier in the year. We talked about this during the offseason. Really, we talked about how we knew that this defense was really good. They struggled here and there, but we know that it's good. And we were like, well, the days that they're off and they can't perform or something's going on, we don't know what's going on. And whether it's game plan, can Dak lead them? That's going to always be the question. Can Dak lead them? Can he push it past? And he obviously needs a supporting cast. I'm not saying that he doesn't. I mean, you got Gallup, that disappears at times, but of course you got CeeDee Lamb that's definitely been running with him and kind of, you can tell their off-season workout is definitely coming to play, just the connection that they have and where they're on the same page. Jake Ferguson, of course, getting there. I'm really liking where this offense is going. I really want to see this defense after it gets a nice rest for these, 10 days or so, right?
Yeah, we get 10-day break. Yep. The players are off until Monday. Hopefully we have one Darius Leonard in the building. Hopefully.
In the building. Yeah, well, hopefully we get that. But Brian, man, it was great to do the Thursday night football game and get an exciting one out of the way.
Yeah,
of course, I appreciate.
Stressful.
Yeah, it was. We were
fucking stressful.
I definitely agree, man. Brian, I appreciate you coming in and hanging and I love that lunchtime chat. I'm never able to hardly ever make it live, but just to rewatch it, you're doing some really good stuff there, man. Being consistent.
Thanks,
and everything.
man. I appreciate it. You got a lively crowd tonight. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
they're going at it.
It's rivalry time, man. And you know what makes this rivalry great is the fact that both teams are doing well. With the success comes with those trash talking. I mean, don't get me wrong. If both teams were terrible and they were losing, we'd still be trash talking about who's going to actually pull off these victories. But it's good to be on the winning side of things. And right now, as the Washington and Giant fans, they don't have that same thing. And their future is going to take a couple of years, not just one. So, again, Brian, thank you for coming through. Thank you guys for coming through and subscribing, sharing, chatting, everything. I appreciate all the support that we get. But one thing we appreciate that you don't forget to do is do what?
Always ring that friggin' bell.
Damn right.
Hey! We know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do? You're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you? You. No, not me, you. Yes, I am you. Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
Game Time Brian, otherwise known as the mailman here,
Cool name. Superpowers?
broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you gonna tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil, and of course my co-host, Game Time Brian.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000. I don't even need to hear it.